Hey guys, Brandon Woldham with CCM Magazine, and today we are hanging out with Crowder. Crowder's got a brand new album coming out here in just about 2 weeks exactly. Milk and Honey, going to be out on June 11th. What's up, man?
Man, good to see you. Yeah, we were joking before we went hit the red button. Like, this is great. I've been down in my basement for too long, and now we're getting out and about. Makes sense. Now you just said 2 weeks away from the release. That was news to me. That's awesome. Yeah, the days blur together when you don't have anything to do.
Yeah. Well, the single out right now doing pretty good. Good God Almighty, number one on just a ton of charts. Over 20 million streams the last count I saw. Tell us a
That's
little bit
awesome.
about how that song came to be.
Man, it was the chorus phrase, "The good God Almighty." I walked in the room. I was like, "We got to do a song, and it's got to be rowdy. It's got to be this. This is going to be amazing." And they're like, "I don't think we can do that song. That seems like you can't say that." I'm like, "Yes, you can. That's a true statement. Good God Almighty is not just what we use in East Texas as a soft cuss. It's like, you know, I love it. I think what 2020 taught us is that there are some truths to things that we as Christians often just consider propositional truth. But what happens is when you go through something, it turns into experiential truth. And I think one thing we held on to and can look backwards and say that is true is that God's still God. He's almighty, and he's still good even when things look bad. I think he did immeasurably more with a thing that looked like it was meant for evil. There's a lot of amazing stuff that was afoot while during suffering, and I think that's so much. That's often what happens in my life, but it's so much the story of the children of Israel, which is what this milk and honey theme thing is all about. And I can't think of a better time period that I've been alive in than 2020 to write about stuff that feels like wilderness and hoping for something on the other side of it. It feels pretty appropriate that this record or this album was written during a year like we had.
Yeah. There's a few other songs out there too that people have heard, but still quite a few that people have not heard. Which
Yeah,
song have people not got to hear yet that you're most excited to get in some headphones these days?
dude, there's this the one that ends the album's called The Anchor. And I mean, of course you're going to title a song at the end of a record called The Anchor. It seems a little too obvious. But man, I did it with a guy named Tommy Prophet. He does a bunch of hip hop stuff, like NF, the rapper NF. Him and Tommy are just like an unstoppable team. And on my last album, I just think Tommy kills it with that. Whatever's happening in hip hop right now, that shoegazing got I mean, it's all emotion, and it's still got the beats. Tommy just kills it, that cinematic hip hop thing. And so I went over to his place. I was like, man, I need some beats again on this album. You're my beat guru. And we wound up writing this song that doesn't have any beats in it. It's just basically piano, me singing, and some other people joining in as a choral group sing. And dude, it feels like I don't know, it's soundtracky. It's, if you want to drop the word, it's cinematic. I mean, Tommy did his cinematic thing with it. It's cinematic, and what a way to close the album. And it's basically saying the same thing. I'm pretty redundant on the whole album, just saying the same stuff over and over. Like, hey, wherever you are right now, it might feel like you're in the wilderness, it might feel a little bleak. But if we remember, God is the one who actually led his children into the wilderness, never left them, was there the whole time. And we can hang on to something like that. That should bring some sense of calm and a balm in the middle of suffering. And that this song just says it in a way that I couldn't be happier how it turned out. But man, that thing is like, I get chills thinking about it. I don't know if that's okay. When
Yeah.
it's your own music, like, it's good to say about somebody else's stuff. It's like, oh man, that song, when I'm like, man, I give myself chills on that one. That's like, it don't sound right. It sounds like something you shouldn't say. But man, I love it. How it turned out is pretty moving for me.
Yeah, well, you get to hear it in a couple weeks when Milk and Honey finally comes out.
It's too
So
long to
also,
wait. I don't like it.
yeah, also here recently, you got announced a 30-city tour kicking off in the fall. Did you ever
Thank
feel like you were
goodness.
going to say that again, a 30-city tour?
No, that feels like even hearing you say it back, I'm like, can we though? It's like, I don't know. No, man, it looks good on the calendar. I saw the calendar. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That looks like somebody's doing some work now. Yeah, no, we're excited about that, but it's not till fall. We're still waiting around.
Yeah.
Hopefully things will keep progressing in a way that we get get to be back together. That's the thing, man. I'm ready to be back together.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things that happen when artists are on tour that the normal public doesn't really think about, like truck stop bathrooms all the time and stuff. What little thing have you missed from not being on tour for a year and a half or so that you're really looking forward to getting to do now?
Dude, you hit the truck stop. I mean, that's my favorite convenience store situation. They have everything you need. One of my favorite things to do is buy stuffed animals there and leave them for my bandmates. Just little. You need gifts from your friends. Just a reminder that you're loved and seen and known. So yeah, I might buy you a little tiger. And you wake up with a tiger. And you're like, where'd the tiger come from? And they're probably like, we probably stopped at a truck stop. Crowder was up. That's probably what happened. That's why you got a tiger. But yeah, I miss the truck stops. They also have amazing fried foods for truck stops. Just, rotating under that warmer. Oh man, I miss that. The smell. I can almost taste it now.
How long do you think it's going to get used to, or to get used to that road noise again, so you can actually get sleep when you're out there on the road?
I think that's like the womb. That's just like, people buy sleep machines for that kind of thing. It's like you got your own sleep machine. It is like, you throw that curtain, and it's the most frigid environments. It's the coldest you'll ever be in your whole life. Is in a bunk with that bus AC running and a noise humming. Oh, it's the best sleep. It's coma sleep. You haven't slept that way since you were like 5. Worries just go away, and you wake up somewhere else. You're like, where are we? And you're like, it doesn't matter. I slept so good. I don't care where we are. It's gonna be a good day.
Yeah. So in a normal year, you would have got to test some of these songs out to a live crowd. Which one of these new songs are you just really pumped to finally get to play in front of a crowd and see a reaction?
That's a great, man. I'm terrified about that because normally you get to see like, is this a good idea? And immediately it wasn't, and you're like, okay, well, we don't need to be doing that one anymore. Here it's all a gamble. We don't know. That's probably we're going like one song at a time to see like this one maybe slowly till the June 11th date. Yeah, I'm excited. I think most of my albums I've made while on the road, because we just don't ever stop traveling. Or I don't. I don't have a lot of my artist friends are really intelligent and smart about their careers. They have like what they call touring seasons where they'll go on tour in support of like a particular album they made, and then they'll like not be on tour and make an album that they'll eventually go back out on tour in support of. Me, I'm just like on tour. I just like go. If people are going to show up somewhere and be in a room, I'm probably going to be there. And so I've made most of my albums while doing that. And it was crazy, one, to be at the house that much, and then 2, get the time to like just think about stuff before just rolling on to the next thing. And so I feel like this is probably one of the more concise musical outings I've had, because we got to edit more than probably I have in the past. And that was a blast. So I'm excited. This is kind of like a album like no other one that I've gotten to do, because we've never had a year like 2020, and I hope I don't ever make another one like this again.
We're going to hear it here in just a couple of weeks. Milk and Honey out on June 11th. Saw an email just a couple of days ago that came through that said, at some point in your life, Eddie from Pearl Jam hooked you up with a surfboard and even taught you how to surf. So I got to hear that story before we leave you today.
Dude, it was the craziest thing ever. I mean, it was nuts. We actually were just bizarrely, we had a replacement bus driver. We had hopped on, and I don't remember the circumstances, but we got on there and we're like, hey man, who you been driving for? Whatever. He's like, my name's Long Haired John and I drive for Pearl Jam. And we're like, oh my word. Well, first of all, I'm a product of the 90s, and Pearl Jam was my deal. I mean, that was my deal. I remember the first time I heard Eddie Vedder's voice, and it turned out to be like a model. I had just helped start this church in Waco, a bunch of college kids, and I was asking everybody that was leading anywhere, like any music leader that I knew, I was like, what am I doing? I don't know anything about doing this. I'm the guy that's supposed to be picking out songs and like and rehearsing everybody, and I'm over my head, man. What am I? And so everybody tell me about range and keys for particular voices. Like, here's where the females like to sing, here's where the guys like to sing. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm hitting these target ranges and stuff. And I go to this Pearl Jam concert up in Dallas, and it's an arena full of us. It's like 20,000 plus. And I mean, every one of those songs we're singing at the top of my lungs. I look around, I'm like, no, Eddie didn't think 1 second about ranges or what key this should be so the audience can say. I'm like, no, we just need to write something you mean and sing it like you mean it. And so he became like an example and model that I would talk about quite often when I'd be in these conferences or, Q&A things where like, how do you go about your task of leading these students in song together on a Sunday morning? And I go, well, Eddie Vedder. It's very unsuspecting analogy that I would be pulling from Eddie Vedder as one of the people who taught me how to lead church music. Well, I wound up trying, me and my wife were headed to this conference where the band was, but me and my wife went a little early, and we stayed at this hotel that was near where the conference would be. And I'm getting a massage the first day. We were living it up. This is our first trip to Hawaii on someone else is paying for us to come to Hawaii. Are you kidding me? So we're taking advantage of it. And the person getting the massage is like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, I do music. And they're like, oh, I had a musician in here yesterday. And I'm like, anybody I know? They're like, yeah, Eddie Vedder for Pearl Jam. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. My massage was over at that point. I'm like, done with the massage. I'm like, Tony, and my wife, I'm like, Eddie Vedder is like probably here somewhere. And she goes, oh, you mean like right there? And she points, it's literally like 16 feet away. There's Eddie. I'm like, what? I turned into little schoolgirl. I like fanboying out. Like I can't even get words together. Eventually I do. And he's super cool. And by the time we're done talking, he's like, cause I dropped long hair John in, after I just stared at him awkwardly for about half a minute, he just like, you're Eddie Vedder. I then dropped the long hair John deal, and he's like, oh, really? So, interesting. Well, by the time we're done with the deal, I'm like, thank you, man. I was going to ask for a picture. I don't need a picture. This is just perfect. You're amazing. I wanted to say, you help me and what I do church music. He's like, wait, what? Huh? And then before I know it, he's like, hey, meet me in the morning. I'm on, and let's go surf. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I don't know how to surf. I've never surfed. He's like, my favorite thing to do is teach people to surf and meet me at 7:30. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm not going to sleep at all. Told him I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to call everybody I know. I'm going to write so many questions. You're going to be so mad that you made this decision, and don't ruin me. Don't like, you got to be there. And he's like, I'll be there, man. So I show up, and sure enough, he's there. And we spent about 2.5 hours of him pushing me into waves, teaching me how to surf in Hawaii. And I got to ask him every question I didn't sleep all night, stayed up all night. And man, it was incredible. And I got to tell him, bizarrely, you've taught, I use you as an example all the time, and have tried to write and sing stuff that I can be true and authentic and mean. And I think that's more compelling than being really clever about where I put a particular vocal range or a particular melody line. So anyway, it was amazing. It was magical.
Did you ever surf again after that?
I have given it a go. It hasn't been as interesting without Eddie. Like, Eddie's not here this time. This is just boring, just nature, boring.
Yeah.
No, in fact, when we were wrapping up, he pointed over to, it was Waikiki Beach where we did, so super little tiny waves and stuff. It wasn't anything to brag about athleticism or anything athletic, but he points over to Diamond Head, the little outcropping that he goes, man, you're gonna see Diamond Head in movies and on TV and in books, and you're gonna be like, that's my spot. That's where I learned how to surf. And I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna mention you were here too, though. It's probably be lead stories right there. But yeah, you're probably right. Pretty cool.
So here in just a couple of days, we get to actually do a live award show. It's going to feel weird. K-Love Fan Awards happening this weekend. You've got a pretty big nomination this year, Male Artist of the Year. Are you going to be there at the show?
Oh yeah, man. We're going to be kicking this thing off, dude. Getting to play music and with Mav City and so again, it's just amazing to be able to be back playing music, So I don't have any idea, everything is still pretty protocolish, COVID test, make sure everybody's either vaccinated or COVID free. And so there's all that still hanging over us, but at the same time, and it's just going to be great to be with people that, I hadn't seen anybody that is, with the K-Love family and well over a year. And so just that alone is going to be incredible. And knowing that it'll be out there for folks to get to view. It'll just be fun to see all those bands in one place at the same time and making music again. It's just a good indicator of where we're headed.
Yeah, well, we're going to do a lot of this again there on the red carpet on your way in. So it'll be fun getting to see you in person.
I'll have my answers down by then. As I said, I haven't got to talk to anybody.
A few extra questions so we don't have the same questions.
That's great. That's great.
All right, we'll see you Sunday, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Good talking to you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.